Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Morbid Message Monday.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, 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 hey. I hope you're ready for the conclusion of this series that I've spent way too much time on. But it is time, folks. It's the end. It's the end of old Willie.
Oh, Willie Pickton.
Old Willie. We've spent quite a bit of time with him. Welcome to Morbid Message Monday. With Matt and Jay. You are going to be shocked by how Willie ended up getting caught and everything
Nice.
in between. I want to say right off the top, thank you, everyone who's stuck with us through this series. This has been brutal. It's been super hard.
Yep.
We've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of research. I'm not even going to say
Jake.
we.
Yeah,
I've done a lot of research.
Jake's done it all. Jake has done all of this one, which is why I will be doing the next one.
Yes, Matt will be doing the next one. And I hope that you don't like the 5-part series because we will be condensing
Yeah.
a lot more.
No more 5-part series.
Yes. In fact, today, the trial we will be glazing over because I just didn't have the sanity to do.
There's so much information on the trial.
I've been
Honestly. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. However, without any further ado, let's finally wrap up our series on the pig farm killer. Where we last left off, we spoke of the final 3 women of our story: Serena Abbotsway, Diane Rock, and Mona Wilson. These would be the final victims of Willie Pickton. The thing about it, though, is he didn't get caught with any of them. I'm going to get into exactly what happened to get Willie Pickton caught, to what finally got everybody to search the farm and what was found in the process. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Strap in. Now, overworked and worn out Don Adam had focused his efforts solely on Project Even-Handed. For those who forgot, Project Even-Handed was the follow-up to Project Amelia, which was the missing woman's task force put together by the RCMP.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he had full belief that a serial killer was at large and responsible for the missing women from the downtown east side. Now, his missing women's joint task force determined there were actually 18 more women missing than anyone had expected. When they started going through records and they started determining like all of these women also went missing without a trace. Right. Nobody has any idea. They just kind of disappeared. Now,
putting shit together finally.
Finally, Don Adam, I'm not going to say is the hero here, but I'm going to say at the very least he cared enough to do this. Cared enough way too late, but he cared enough in the end. So, he reached out to the Seattle police for guidance on their work on the Green River Killer case. For those of you who are unaware of the Green River Killer, his name is Gary Ridgway, and he went on a 3-year murder spree from 1982 to 1985. He stopped, but then he appeared again in 1999, leaving over 50 women dead and dumped in the Green River in Seattle, or in Washington. He was not actually caught until 2001, when DNA testing became more robust and they matched the DNA DNA of his found on a gauze from the year 1987 that matched the DNA left with a victim. We might consider doing a series on him, but I don't feel good about doing another killer with 50 victims because I'm really trying.
I think we'll take
with this one.
I think we'll take a break.
He also had spoken to officers in Spokane, Washington, who had just recently dealt with Robert Yates, another man who was an ex-Army veteran who had recently pled guilty to killing 13 prostitutes from the years 1977 to 1998. Washington's kind of fucked.
Seems like a really horrible place to be.
I mean, think about it, dude. Bundy came from there.
Yeah.
Gary Ridgway came from there.
What is it about
Robert
that place
Yates.
right. What is it about that place that spawns serial killers? What is it?
That's a great question and could be an episode all on its own, to be perfectly honest. If you
Why
think about
is Washington a serial killer haven?
the Pacific Northwest in general
That's
has
trivia.
a pretty
It's because
strong
it's
serial
so
killer base.
goddamn dark and moody over there all the time.
Everybody's just like, oh, guess I got to go kill a bunch of hookers today.
Guess it's time to murder people. Whoa.
Now, all of this was happening while the VPD was getting absolutely demolished by the Vancouver Sun's revelations into their horrible investigation. Everything we've already talked about.
Rightfully
Front page
fucking
news.
so.
Yeah, it was front page of the Vancouver Sun about police work, racism, sexism, general, like just terribleness within the department, lack of care, everything under the sun. Police began to gather DNA from the missing women anywhere that it was possible, essentially, right? Such as hair from a hairbrush, toothbrushes, anything that could possibly have their DNA on it. This was all considered, however, secondary DNA, something that they could possibly use, but it wasn't going to be like 100%. The way that they got the 100% DNA, the primary DNA, is they actually collected slides. I want to say that maybe this is like a viewer discretion. I don't know. I mean, it's a thing that happens. I don't think it's a problem. But they collected slides from pap smears from the British Columbia Cancer Center.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, lots of people were actually surprised that these women would consistently get checked up. But the truth of the matter is they had it harder than anyone else. A lot of these women had hepatitis C, HIV. Some of them had full-blown AIDS. So they did everything that they could to literally survive.
Yeah.
100%. It's insane. So it's not a big surprise to me that they would do this. Now, a big concern for the task force was that they had a person who had zero criminal record being their suspect. It's harder to do literally anything if this is the case. Now, remember, Picton did have a criminal record. He was charged with an attempted murder of Sandra Gale Ringwald, for those of you who had forgotten. So what they started to do is they started to look through suspects who had lesser sex crimes, such as just like sexual assault or attempted murder.
Right.
Now, after they reviewed these cases, they determined Willie Picton to be a priority one suspect. And it wasn't that he was their number one suspect. Hold on a second.
Priority one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Texas messed with me. I guess I'll leave that. No, you won't. But he was considered a priority one suspect, meaning he matched a lot of the boxes. But, you know, he was hard to get to, essentially, because they'd already done so much to try.
Right.
Now, finally, on October 15th, 2001, 10 years after Picton killed his first victim, the police formally announced that the 46 missing women's cases were now being treated as murders. Finally showing
so
some regard. Yeah,
hey,
dude.
We know you've been warning us for a while, but I think we're finally looking at it.
Hey, we've gotten a lot of complaints. I mean, I know the families are all real upset with us and like this and that and then this, but whatever.
We've been sued a couple times, but I think now it's time to make this kind of a big thing.
Then this isn't in the notes, but they were actually sued by Kim Rossmo, who was that super cop, because they fired him in the midst of all of this.
Why did they fire him?
Because he was too good.
Oh, because he was actually trying to do his job.
Because he was trying to catch a serial killer.
To catch a killer.
The only good news from all of this is that the disappearances had finally stopped. There were a total of 6 women in 2001, but the last was in August, Serena Abbotsway. All right, remember, this was October 15th, 2001. Keep that in mind.
Right.
This changed 4 days later on October 19th. Diane Rock, who was a relative newcomer to the area, disappeared from her hotel room in the Mar, making her the 7th victim in 2001.
Yeah.
Now, the final woman to go missing was Mona Wilson, November 23rd, 2001. A man named Steve Ricks claimed to have been the last one to see her getting into a car with 2 men who didn't want sex but would pay her for her time. Those who knew Mona did not believe him for a second because he was notoriously like a leech on her life. He was a crazy drug addict. He would not work. He would use anything that he could from her to essentially get his fix and then just move on.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed, "Oh, I'm her knight in shining armor. I'm the one who, kept her safe for as long as she was kept safe," but no one believed it for a second.
Right.
Now, I want you all to take a second because we're finally reaching the peak, the discovery, and the grossest adjective I could use, the climax of this tale. How Willie Pickton, the pig farm killer, got caught.
Finally.
And really, it's not what you'd think at all. The police had been racking their brains at this point. Pressure from worldwide media had been building. They needed literally anything to go off of.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this rookie.
What was the show that they were put on?
Stop.
Like in America's Most Wanted or something like that?
America's Most Wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
The Willie Pickton case had more...
It's bad when that happens.
Yes, more notability from America's Most Wanted than the VPD's press conferences. Now, enter Nathan Wells, a rookie cop in the RCMP. He got a call from our good friend Scott Chubb. Remember Chubb?
Chubb.
See, Chubb again was down on his luck. He owed $11,000 in child support to his then wife, who he was separated from. And his wife, Tasha, had attacked him in a rage when he attempted to go speak with her. Wells was the one dispatched to the site of the disturbance in December of 2001. He met Chubb, who was drunk at the time of his arrival. He explained his dislike that his wife was using cocaine and how he was so sick of the drug trade in Coquitlam. So apparently that's what sparked the rage, was he was pissed off at his wife for using cocaine, because at this point Chubb was like trying not to use anything.
He was just mad because she wasn't sharing.
Yeah, probably. Now, he was basically telling Wells that he was tired of the drug trade in Coquitlam. This was all after Chubb had been beaten half to death by the Hells Angels behind a hotel not too long before this. Now, Wells talked to Chubb for about half an hour. Chubb gave him his info and told him to call him. He notoriously said, "I'll make you famous." Wells thought he could be a good resource, so he obliged and gave Chubb his information, saying, "Please give me a call when you get a chance. I'd like to talk further about this with you."
I mean, that's the best way to get those people to talk. It's like, I'm going to make you, like, you're going to be top of the mountain.
Well, no. What I'm saying is Chubb told Wells he was going to make him famous.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Sorry if that wasn't clear. Now, skip to January 1st, 2001. Wells had been assigned to the Drug Task Force. January 25th, he receives a call from Chubb, who'd been down again on his luck. He and his superior, Constable Richard Kim, agree to meet Chubb in an unmarked car. Chubb got in the car, spewed a sob story about how he lost his job and he had no money for rent and he was living with his wife again and he didn't want to fuck things up. And he had lots of info on various drug traffickers in the area. He said that he'd spill their information for cash from the RCMP to pay his rent. Now, Wells and Kim were not even remotely interested, telling him they'd need more for the amount he was asking, which was $700 to $900. Now, Chubb relayed a story about a 300-plus marijuana plant grow-op, but again, they just didn't care. Canada's smart about weed, and they don't care.
Poor Chubb.
Now, I know. Poor Chubb. Chubb was also a violent criminal. So
I feel like if you have the name Chubb or the nickname Chubb, like you're just
just gonna have a violent past.
You're required by life to be down on your luck 24 hours a day.
Yeah, so. I mean, you're probably not wrong. I wouldn't be stoked.
Oh, it's just Chubb.
Oh, just old Chubb over there. Don't worry. Now, Chubb had another bit of info he was willing to relay to the cops. He asked, "What about illegal, unregistered firearms?" They were more intrigued by this and explained as long as it led to a search, seizure, and arrest, this was definitely worth the money. However, they'd need all of those things to happen before he saw even one penny.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Chubb understood and said he would be in touch. And he was. 1 week later, February 1st, 2002. He called Wells again because he needed rent, so it was time to talk. Chubb told Wells he knew of at least 3 firearms at a trailer over on 963 Dominion Avenue. They belonged to a man named Willie fucking Pickton.
It's kind of sad that this dude really honestly probably would have gotten away with it had it not been for some dude named Chubb who just needed some cash to pay rent.
Chubb was down on his luck, so he squealed on the pig farm killer.
Well, it wasn't even for what he was doing,
And
so it's like
no.
even more hilarious.
He just needed rent, so he said, yeah, this guy's got guns. Now, Chubb knew that Picton had guns because, well, he borrowed them.
Good.
But he had to make sure they were still there. Wells knew the name Picton, but needed more info. He brought it up to another officer named Petrovic, I don't know. Petrovic gave him everything he knew of Willie. This led Wells to learning that Picton was a key suspect in the missing women's case. Wells pulled his file and began doing an investigation. He gave this information to his superior, Staff Sergeant Brad Zalis, who then relayed the info to Wayne Clary of the Missing Women's Task Force. It was now time to get a search warrant for the farm. Dude, literally, as I was writing this, I was like, let's go. Now, Wells' superior, Corporal William Malachi? I don't know. It's got a weird
I thought we decided it was Malachi.
Malachi. Now, William Malachi, Malarkey, reached out to Clary to confirm that his search warrant would not interfere with their investigation. Now, Clary said he was fine with it. Of course, Go ahead. Get it.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. But once he hung up with Malachi, he was so fucking excited that he picked up the phone immediately and called Don Adam to let him know the Picton farm was finally up for being searched. Adam, who was mid-interview, literally dropped everything and informed Clary even-handed needed to be on this search as well, stating further that they could not let anything go unsearched from this farm. It's all
finally they're excited to actually solve this and figure out why all these women disappeared.
It's all falling into place, man. Like I said, I got avidly excited when I read this. Now, Wells started the application for a search warrant going off of one of the weapons Chubb told him he had seen, a Smith & Wesson MAC-10, which happened to be prohibited under the criminal code. Using this info, help from Clary, Adam, and Kim, he sent his affidavit for the search warrant. Chubb informed Wells that the guns were still there too, in the laundry room, just as he thought. To do this, this is a funny one. I'm going to be honest. This one's pretty funny. Now, Chubb had to determine if the guns were still there, but he didn't exactly have a great reputation on the farm anymore. So he said this was his story, okay? To do this, he had to sneak into the trailer while Willie was out. While he was searching, he heard Willie come back in. Chubb hid himself behind a bed in the trailer. Willie got into the trailer, and Chubbs, terrified, was hoping that he'd not notice the bed had moved. Willie took a really loud piss and then went right to bed. This is what Chubb said, okay? And Chubb snuck out after Willie had passed out in his bed. Okay. Now, this was way too action movie spy for the police to believe, but they humored him nonetheless. They really didn't know if the guns would be there, based on Chubb kind of being a known fabricator of stories. Now, Wells got an answer for his search warrant request. It was denied. Judge Candace Rogers said that there was a discrepancy, asking how the informant knew what a MAC-10 looked like. What? They were like, well, how does he know what a MAC-10 looks like?
I mean, it's true considering it's illegal there.
Movies, he's a known criminal.
True,
so Wells said the informant had an extensive knowledge of firearms and a criminal record. He redrafted the application and sent it back in. The application was approved at 7:40 p.m. Now things are really kicking to high gear after this. Now a search task force was assembled within minutes, and they were on their way to search the farm. It was just after 8:30 p.m. A perimeter was set, and the police were ready to execute the search warrant. They had brought a battering ram and 5 cops to do this. Okay. Now, the warrant had to be done by 9 p.m. Otherwise, it was all over. Literally, I don't know why, but it was
That's
like this
so
weird
strange.
search warrant. I don't know what it is. I could have misread that, but I'm
Like
pretty
like
sure
it had to be executed by
had to
9
be
p.m.
executed by 9 p.m.
Okay, so
Otherwise, not
okay.
allowed.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, they waited for a moment for Picton to arrive because he wasn't actually there.
Mhm.
He pulled up in his truck, went into his trailer, closed the door behind him. The cops were on the move to his porch. They didn't realize there was a second door to the right of them. But at this moment, they slammed the door open with a battering ram, screaming, "Police! Police! Search warrant!" Willie, like a fucking cartoon character, popped his head out of the door to the right of him and went, "Hey, what's happening?" Literally. Like this. For those of you listening, I'm sorry, but like literally like this. "Hey, what's going on?" Not even joking. No. After that, they shouted police. He slammed the door and ran into his trailer. Guns drawn, the police swarmed in through the battered doorway and got Willie in the middle of the trailer. They threw him down to the ground, face down, pulled his arms behind his back, and cuffed him. He was informed he was under arrest for the possession of prohibited and restricted firearms. Wells, who'd arrested Pickton, took him to his squad car and threw him in the back. He asked if there was anything the cops should know about his house. Booby traps, stuff like that. Picton only said this: "I have a 22 in the barn." Wells took him back to the HQ in Coquitlam. Prisoner, finally in tow. So Picton is finally arrested.
So they didn't necessarily find the guns aside from the 22. Right?
Oh no, they arrested him because they're like, "Shit, this better work." Like this is a.
It's like you get your chance, and if you don't take it, you're
Exactly.
screwed,
Well, who knows what Willie's going to do?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Now, after the trailer was cleared of anyone else, the police began their search. There were 6 rooms. Immediately, the police were disturbed by the sight of the massive horse head hung on the wall, the one we talked about before, Goldie, who was Willie's horse that he raised, and then when he died, he had stuffed. The other thing they were unnerved by was the sheer amount of shit everywhere. Papers, clothes, junk, dirt, literal shit. It was everywhere, and this was going to be a lengthy search. Chubb said that the gun he knew of was in the laundry room. Officer Petrovich decided he wanted to start there. He looked around for a moment and noticed a case, and inside was the gun and ammunition. Now, you have to realize this is a huge moment for the police in this case, because they're going in there off of the assumption that this man has a MAC-10. Now,
And they find it.
well, hold on.
No?
Now, he looked around for a moment. Oh, wait, sorry. The warrant was now secured, and they could continue on without any problem because he had firearms that were unregistered. So right there, he's hosed. Like he's going to jail. Now, his next location was to search Willie's room. Petrovic and Morwood Clark, who was the photographer on the search, entered the room. They noticed a double bed with a wooden headboard that had shelves to their immediate right. They noticed on the headboard was a pair of handcuffs covered in fake tiger fur.
Ugh.
Right beside them were several pieces of women's jewelry, a picture of a woman, a purse, and a piece of paper with Dina Taylor's name on it. Dina was Willie's girlfriend who had replaced Gina Houston
Right.
and brought him all those girls.
I wonder if during all of this, Willie was actually stressing out.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I got real burps right now. Let's go.
Like, I wonder if he was actually like sitting there like, oh shit, they're going to catch me.
No,
Or
he was already being taken.
Well, yeah, I know, but like they're actively searching. So like, he doesn't even know like what they're searching for or why he's being searched. So like,
Oh, you'll learn.
was he stressing out or, you know,
I would say yes, but we'll
because
learn
of
more
how
about that.
because of how nonchalant he was in the past. Like,
He's like, oh, whatever, I'm untouchable. Nobody, no crime.
wonder. Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Absolutely. Now, the search continued. In a nightstand, they found a flare gun modified to take 12-gauge rounds. Cool. Another count. Take him to jail.
Fantastic.
And another pair of handcuffs. They also found a bag of large cable ties known as zap straps that were often used by both the police and criminals to restrain people. They also found, literally all in one nightstand, 2 massive dildos. On the floor next to the nightstand, they found a box with various sized kitchen knives. Moving to the television stand, they found a paper with the name Heather Bottomley on it. Bottomley was one of the missing women. Oh yeah, sorry. The men moved on to the laundry room where they'd first found the gun. They took a closer look at the box, took the gun out, and realized it was a .22 revolver.
Oh.
But it was wrapped in plastic, and something was attached to it. Now, you don't have to laugh, but it's really kind of terrifying what they found. Upon closer inspection, these men pulled it out of the box and found a dildo had been slid over the barrel of the .22 revolver. The gun was loaded. They didn't even take the thing off completely. They just took it far enough off to get the round that was in there out. Yes, cajoling lace.
Fucking Tex.
Yep. Literally. Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Big Chungus.
Big Chungus. Absolutely. After this, they found a glass case with women's barrettes before deciding to take a look outside. Now, Howard Lew was in charge of searching the office and the bathroom. An initial search of the bathroom turned up nothing, but in his office he found a small holster and a .22 caliber shell. What he found next broke this entire thing wide open. Inside of his office, he found a gray Solomon ski bag. Inside were women's running shoes and an orange inhaler. Now, the name on the inhaler read Serena Abbotsway, who had gone missing earlier that year. He immediately phoned this in, stating they now had two pieces of evidence linking Picton to the missing women. The other, of course, being the paper with Heather Bottomley's name on it. God does not condone the Masonic order. We tried. Oh my God. That's one way to fuck yourself. Yeah. No, that's, yep. Now, Richard Kim decided he wanted to search an outbuilding when he made a startling discovery and let everyone know via radio that he had found something strange. He was searching the slaughterhouse. 2 pigs had just been skinned, and there were several animal remains in the drums around. Moments later, Wong, another officer on the search, was investigating the mechanical shop, later known as Site C. He found some women's things. Cater and Little, who were part of the missing women's task force, went to take a look. This whole time, they've actually just kind of been sitting and waiting to hear that they could come in because they needed proof that some of these women were linked. Okay, so when they went to take a look, they found 3 purses, shoes, and pieces of paper with names on some of them. One of the names was Lynn Ellingson, who was still alive, by the way. She's the one who saw Willie slaughter.
Right.
Now,
She's the one who actively watched. Ugh.
Yeah, literally. Now, 9:53 p.m., Vince Sebastiano, who was another cop, radioed about the paper with Bottomley's name on it. It turned out it was an ID and a birth certificate. He also informed them of the inhaler. Cater recalls feeling physically sick at the news. Cater was one of the cops who had tailed Willie to no avail in 1999. They called Clary to inform him of their findings, and he said to stop the search, seize the property, and get back as soon as they could. The Coquitlam officers, however, were not satisfied as of yet. They snapped a few more pictures before they finally left. Okay, now what he did next was possibly the most important thing in this investigation. He made arrangements to have an undercover cop sit in with Willie as a cell plant. This didn't happen right away, but a cell plant is someone there as an undercover as a criminal to try to pry information out of a suspect willingly. They're not allowed to interrogate, but more so try to make the suspect feel good and confide information in them. We'll get back to this later.
It sounds so sketchy.
I know.
Like it's totally necessary.
It's an undercover cop.
You know, yeah, it's totally necessary in this case, but it sounds so sketchy.
Yeah, I'm going to read an excerpt too because it's really funny. Now, police put up a fence. All right, hold on. Sorry, I gotta catch on here. Now, Adam secured a 3-month search of the farm. His team grew 130 people in one night. They mobilized and began setting up the search. No one was ready for what they found. The police informed the families of those missing that they had a suspect in custody and a search was underway. Because at this point, I mean, the police are in such hot water that if they don't inform the families, it's just going to be even bigger of a problem because they were so terribly, I don't know, they treated the case so terribly as a whole. Now, police put up a fence around the property and electrified it to stop anybody from trying to get in. Now, remember, the Pictons sold off several acres of land, which is what made them millionaires in the first place, whilst Willie was on his killing spree. A school, elementary school, by the way, condominiums, and public parks were now on those grounds. The immediate question from everyone involved was, were there also bodies on those grounds?
Right.
Yeah. Now, and they couldn't check because this was no longer, like, they're not going to destroy this school to look for bodies.
Right.
Right? Which is horrifying.
That's
Anyway.
horrible to think about.
Now, the searchers first gathered all the clothing in the trailer, separating those with any stains into their own pile for possible DNA recognition. They then began searching Willie's room. Immediately, they found more of Bottomley's possessions, a spiral notebook, a copy of her social insurance card, which is like a social security card, a hospital card, her birth certificate, and a check stub for $175. They continued the search in the office, where they thoroughly examined the Solomon ski bag with Abbott's Way's inhaler inside. They quickly found 2 syringes that were filled with a blue substance that was either window cleaner or antifreeze. Now, the investigation continued as they cut out a big portion of Picton's bed, which had been stained. They suspected the stain to be blood. They also found an absurd amount of sex toys in the trailer, like a weird amount, like an insane amount, actually. In this search, they found vibrators, dildos, handcuffs, like G-spot massage, like it just really like
This weird shit.
the Pictons are weird, man. Like, you know, if that's
He
your
glued a
journey,
dildo to a pistol. I mean, come on.
hey, we're not here to kink shame, but if that's your journey you want to live, just don't
That's
also
how you
murder.
die.
Don't also murder. Hey man, if Willie Pickton wanted to fuck himself with the dildo on that 22 revolver and accidentally fire it off, I would have taken it.
It would have saved a lot of pain and suffering.
No. In this search, they found Mona Wilson's jacket. Inside was a syringe with her blood on it. Now, during all of this, Willie had gotten out on bail. Dave Pickton paid his bail. He was not allowed anywhere near the farm, though he worked jobs with Dave under heavy surveillance by the RCMP. At one of these job sites, Dana Lillies was tasked with serving Willie his summons to appear in court. He confided to her, tears in his eyes, saying he felt like Princess Diana with all the media always harassing him. After going on about his life and sobbing here and there, he told her, "Oh, it doesn't matter now. My life is over. I'm screwed and tattooed." Literally his very words. Now, Picton was finally arrested for first-degree murder when the blood of Mona Wilson was found in his trailer. Parts of her were also found in his barrels. This was later, of course. Willie was upset. He thought he'd never get caught. He really didn't. Now, back to the cell plant. Willie was in a cell with a man who he thought was just there for a crime. Apparently, all criminals cuss like sailors because this cell plant sure as hell did. In fact, here's an excerpt. Give me 1 second.
He's got to pull out the book.
Gotta pull out the book in my neat little bag. Sponsor, not sponsor, no boundaries by Walmart.
Definitely not sponsored by Walmart.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a very good one.
No.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Notes. Shit, I'm in the wrong book. I'm reading about David Parker Ray. Hold on.
You just like reading about murderers?
No. What? No. Shut up. You don't know me.
I can't judge you. My fiance loves watching murder mystery shows.
Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, okay. All right. So I'm going to read you a couple little excerpts from the book. Now, the cell plant comes into the cell with Picton saying, "Hey, where's my fucking lawyer? I pay my fucking lawyer. It snapped the man as the guard led Pickton into the cell. He's coming, replied the guard. Fucking yeah, the man said angrily as he climbed off his bed. I don't fucking share cells here. What's going on? Okay. Willie sat down on the bunk on the left of the wall. It's not fucking bad enough, he muttered. I don't have a clue. Holy shit. I'm going to use the washroom here. He got up, walked over to the toilet, and peed into the center of the bowl. Also, you get an idea of how much fucking detail is in this goddamn ridiculous book. The roar of splashing urine into the toilet reverberated around the cell and went on for a full minute or two. He didn't wash his hands. He pulled a mat off the floor, slid it onto the bench, folded a blanket into a pillow. He laid down, head on the blanket, legs crossed at the ankles, one arm under the back of his head. So what are you in for? He asked the other man. Well, for my health, but it's fucking bullshit. What are your charges, eh? What are you charged with? Fuck me, it's fucking Warrens from back east. Again, the guy who's saying fuck all the time is the undercover cop.
Right.
The guard was back, carrying some blankets for the men. The cell plant glared at him. Want to fucking check on that call? He snapped, referring to his lawyer. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. I've been waiting all afternoon. Yeah, the guard said. We'll be waiting to alert you, sir. Now, let me go back. Let me scroll a little ways down. Because some of the shit that Willie said to this man. Whew, okay. Actually, I'm just going to read it from here.
There's an audio recording out there on YouTube, too.
There is. Should I play a little bit? I think I should.
If you could pull it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just kind of hard to hear. That's the only problem.
I'm going to play it. Okay, so this entire conversation that Picton had with this cell plant is actually available on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I will play it now, maybe. Okay, so it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to hear, but I will speak for Picton in this case. They got me. They got me on this one. No shit, said the undercover officer. It's so quiet. It's like analog horror.
Does look like.
Fuck, what have they got? That's what he says. Oh, fuck, all their old carcasses. This is Willie Pickton saying this. So what have you got? You know what I'm saying? DNA? Fuck, yeah. Come on, buddy. Fuck, that's nothing. They can't finalize that. If you've got a fucking missing... Literally, this guy will not stop saying fucking fuck. In fact, I'm going to go to the Murderpedia article because there is a transcription that I could read a lot easier.
I was going to say, I was like, is there a fuck counter? Because that's phenomenal.
Yes, there is. It's very hard to read. I wanted to play it so you could kind of hear his voice.
Yeah, it's a little hard
like
to hear
villain.
that. Yeah, that audio recording is pretty shitty, but...
Well, I mean, it was recorded in 2001. Yeah, it's a long one. And the entire thing was actually like over an hour.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm going to paraphrase from here on out. Mm-hmm. Now, the conversation continued. Willie let it slip that people said his pigs ate people, yet no one had even brought that up in the conversation. Like, at all. No one in the news, nothing. Bro, it's 2022 and surveillance cameras are still grainier than a fucking 240p YouTube video. Ain't that the truth?
Very true.
Now, he also spoke about how the guards tried to get him to shower, even though he asked for a bath. He was famous, a legend, but that in all reality, he was just a pig man, just a simple pig man.
Just a pig man.
Yep, just a pig man. That's all he did. That's all he wanted. He wanted to go back to his farm and live his days as a simple pig man, like how it used to be. You know, when he was killing all the women. Yep. He wanted to go back to... Oh, wait, sorry. The next day, he was interviewed by the police, telling them the whole thing was hogwash. And they started talking. One thing led to another, and after the plant fabricated a story about where he was hiding his bodies in the ocean and killing them with a pickaxe, Willie let it slip to where he disposed of his bodies. He says, I got one better. The rendering plant. Remember, Willie is his own worst enemy in this case. He has to be Mr. Machismo.
Yeah.
He also relayed that he primarily killed his victims using antifreeze, injecting them. Oh, antifreeze and window washer fluid,
Yeah,
injecting them, and that they'd be dead in about 5 minutes. This is when he finally relayed his disappointment in himself for getting sloppy. He wanted to get an even 50, but he only got to 49. He gloated about his numbers being so high, bigger than anyone in the United States. This sealed his fate.
God.
Mm-hmm.
He did. He just wanted to brag about it. That's why, like,
He did.
I don't think he was even worried that they were going to find him, because, like, he's just like, well, almost got to 50.
Almost got to 50, but you know, they
pretty
got
good.
Me. Yeah, and at this point, the plant, I'm sure, is like, oh shit, he just said it. You know what I mean? And he's still undercover.
He did what?
He's like, wait, hold on, like, this is real now? Because, you know, he's over there making up stories about how he killed people with a pickaxe, and that was the easiest way to do it. Yeah, loose lips Willie. That's right.
There you go. Absolutely.
I mean, he'd already relayed all this info to Andy Bellwood about how he did it.
Yep.
So, you know, why not relay it to his new best friend who he just met earlier that day? Now, we're finally moving on to the trial. And full disclosure, this trial is going to be abbreviated because I was literally starting to feel sick when I was trying to finish this research. Like, I was just like, I can't do anymore. There's so much, I can't do it. Again, if you want to learn more of the trial, the book that I was reading, On the Farm by Stevie Cameron, has every goddamn detail you could ever wish for in your entire life.
75 chapters long.
It's absurd. Like, it's really ridiculous. Like, I couldn't finish it. I had to switch my source to Murderpedia so that I could finish this.
Murderpedia?
No, it's a real website.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's horrible.
Murderpedia. They have a list of all the serial killers, everything.
Jesus Christ.
Now, after combing through every nook and cranny of the farm, investigators were only able to find remains of about 26 women. Be it buried in the yard, DNA strewn around, bones in the slaughterhouse. I mean, this was the scene of an actual, honest-to-God horror movie.
Yeah.
Georgia Papin's hand bones were found in the slaughterhouse. Remains were found in his freezer in the back of his workshop. Remains of Andrea Josbury were found in a bucket within his second property, and his co-butcher, Pat Casanova, was also arrested, but never charged with the murders of 15. This should say something about the defense team. Also, how the fuck did Pat Casanova dodge any sort of conviction?
Right.
Now, Pat Casanova, we didn't talk about him a lot because there's not a lot necessarily about him, but essentially he was Willie's assistant in butchering. It's definitely said that he helped slaughter these women, but there's no conclusive evidence to say that he did. Nonetheless,
I mean, I guess if they didn't have the evidence, there's nothing they can do to pin it on him. So
yeah, I mean, it's the same problem they had getting Picton in the first place.
Right.
Now, they did seize a lot of his stuff. I mean, they grabbed a reciprocating saw, a mallet, all sorts of things from Pat Casanova before moving forward. Now, Willie was charged with 26 murders, but only 6 turned to convictions due to a lack of evidence. His 2-year-long sham of a trial, not fair at all.
Well, I guess if they're, I don't know. It depends.
I mean, to be fair, they only found remains.
Yeah, if they didn't have the evidence,
they could conclude.
Right. If they didn't have the evidence, they can't convict him on the evidence. So, like, that's just one of those things. Like, it sucks because you know he fucking did it.
Yeah.
You know he did this shit.
You know it was him.
Because they didn't, a jury's not going to convict on that.
And the problem is, I mean, so many of these women's families didn't get the justice they believed was deserved because they wanted him to be charged and convicted of these murders.
Yeah.
Now, his 2-year-long trial started January 30th, 2006, and included witness statements from Lynn Ellingson, Bill Hiscox, Andy Bellwood, Scott Chubb, and many more. He was finally sentenced to life in prison on 6 counts of... This makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Second-degree murder. For those of you not aware of what second-degree murder is basically he did murder somebody, but it was not in any way premeditated, which these absolutely were. He prowled on women, took them back to his farm, murdered them on the spot. He just had an obviously incredible lawyer.
Yeah.
And he was sentenced to life in prison on the 6 counts of second-degree murder, December 11th, 2007.
He had the money, so he could pay for a good lawyer.
He did. He was a millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think this is all bullshit, but a win is kind of a win.
It's still a win. He's still in prison for life and not getting out. So
thank you, that weird doctor. Second degree is crimes of passion.
Yeah.
Not in any way premeditated. It's bullshit.
That's not passion at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, unless the passion was like he was having sex with them and then murdered them because he was like, oh, I'm getting my rocks off.
Right.
Which does happen with a lot of serial killers, but again, premeditated. He knew what he was going to do.
He did. He knew.
Now, he was moved to a penitentiary in 2010, and Picton is still alive to this day, rotting in prison, knowing he will never see freedom again. I also want to say Dave Picton is a weird fuck. He's a weird sex freak because his house was also searched in this search. And when they searched it, they found an abnormal amount of different lubes, edible whipped cream, a bunch of sexual lotions, and an obscene amount of dildos as well. Again, I think he was complicit and should be charged. But,
well, he covered up for a lot of it.
Oh, he absolutely did.
So the fact that,
That being said, not enough evidence is not enough evidence. So life goes on. Now, in 2006, Willie sent letters to a pen pal. They were known as the Pickton letters. They were a kind of in his own words style autobiography that was actually published and sold by Amazon for a very short amount of time. Because there was a humongous, there's such little information. Well, not anymore, but there was such little information on these murders because Canada had a very strict oh my God, what is the word? Publication policy on open investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were both 100% degenerates. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Now, his autobiography was filled with complete and utter nonsense, claiming that what he did was to fight evil and help cleanse the world.
That's the excuse right there.
That's what he was doing. He's a missionary.
The judge was like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay." Total sense.
Now, Picton was the victim of his own circumstances. He kept trophies. He truly did. Obviously, he did, because who in their right mind would keep items from the people who they murdered? No one. No one. So he was a missionary killer, but he was also a process killer because he did have his way of doing things.
He did.
All of the women happened to be from the same area. The way he disposed of them was all the same.
The way he killed them. Yeah.
Yeah, the way he killed them. All
with
the
the
same.
antifreeze.
It's not all of them. He did strangle a few in the middle.
Oh, did he strangle a few? That's true.
Yes. Now, that, folks, is the end of the pig farm killer. Now, I want to say, I will not be doing any more 5-part series, and I'm going to learn better how to condense information.
Yeah, I think going forward, they'll all be 2 to 3.
Yeah, maybe 3 at the most.
Yeah, 3 will be our max.
3 will be the max. We just won't let it go any further. But I want to thank you all for sticking with us through this absolute madhouse of a series.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to know even more about the Picton farm, this trial, the search and seizure, all of that, there's an obscene amount of detail in On the Farm by Stevie Cameron. It's an excellent book. Highly recommend you read it. But folks, that is where we leave you on the Willie Picton series. But I want to thank each and every one of you so much for your kind words on this series, for your interest in this series, for listening to this series. If you didn't catch it live, for those of you who did catch it live, you're all premium individuals, excellent Messenites, and the light is flowing oh so heavily through each and every one of you.
Yes.
But folks, we will be back with more serial killers. Who? We're not quite sure yet. But Matt does have an idea of what we're going to be bringing you next.
I think we can tell them.
I think we should not tell them exactly.
Secret?
But Dad did say he wants more aliens.
Chuck, you're going to get more aliens.
Your request will be obliged. That's what we will say.
Next Monday.
In a ooky spooky tale of the paranormal.
Mm.
My God, this is a wild one.
Yeah.
200%.
Yeah.
But folks, again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I hope you have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to. Oh, you know what? Fuck, we fucked that up. Don't forget to follow us on all the various social medias, Tech Mess. There's a link tree in the description. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify. Rate us on Spotify too. That's something you can do now. The higher the ratings, the more likely we are going to be pushed to the top of that algorithm. So make sure you do that. Please, please, please. Don't forget to subscribe over on the YouTube, ! YouTube in the chat. Otherwise, it is going to be available on the link tree in the description. Is there anything else you have, Matt?
I need to change everything, but remember, everything is now referred to as Tech Mess Talks because there are multiple shows now.
Yes, and this is no longer just Morbid Message Monday. This is now under the blanket of Tech Mess Talks. Yes. In fact, we may be back with another meeting of the Masonic Minds to take a break from.
Yeah, if I need some time to do some research and read it, we'll probably come back with the meeting of the Masonic Minds.
Yeah, we'll let y'all know if we can negotiate something with our next guest.
Yeah.
But yes, I did fuck it up. Don't forget to follow us on all the things. There's a lot. It's good stuff. Horror games on YouTube. Make sure you tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday for more Tech Mess goodness here at twitch.tv/tech_mess. Now, I hope you have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be that you're having, kindly viewer, and well,
goodbye.